cornerbacks coach Rod West. Greg?
Rod, so you got a few guys that were back from the spring and some new guys this summer. So give us just an overview of what you see out of the cornerbacks through the first 3 days.
I think collectively, a good job of retaining everything we did in spring, everything we did over the summer for the new guys, and just trying to create a spirit of competition in that room. I think so far they've done a good job of translating what we talked about in the meeting room to the field, and like I say, every day just making progress, trying to be more consistent as a group as a whole.
You have the skill you need to be successful there, you think?
I think so. We'll see in a few weeks here, but so far so good. I think the guys they're trying hard, playing at a high level. Coach Rod always talked about playing with a hard edge, and I think we're getting to the point where you can see some of those consistent habits starting to pay off.
As Travis, I'll ask you, your defensive scheme, the things that Zach does, pretty unique, different. Obviously, the things that Rich does is pretty unique and different. And all these things are happening really fast. Mm-hmm. Talk about some of the challenges that both sides, from a player's perspective, having to process things quickly and going through all that happens during practice.
That's a good question. The biggest thing for us is we are pretty multiple, but we try to be consistent, and we try to do a good job of lumping things together. So if guys can say, all right, we have buzzwords for these 5 calls, there may be 5 different calls, but the techniques are pretty consistent. So yes, it's a lot. We will look very multiple to every offense that we're going against, and that's by design. But we try to do a good job, and Coach Allen does a great job of saying, hey, I know these are, we got 10 calls going in today, but, for the cornerback, it's 10 calls, but we're really playing 2 or 3 different techniques. So I think, once you step back and once guys realize the concepts, so trying to teach concepts more than just calls, they can kind of compartmentalize everything and make the learning curve a little less steep.
Is it the objective in both instances, though, whether it's Rich attacking the defense or the defense affecting the offense, to get guys to think quickly? Is that under pressure to try to expose them? Is that kind of the idea behind it?
Yes. Coach Rodriguez is known for his tempo. We know we're going to play fast on offense. So we tell our guys if we can get lined up, if we can communicate, and we create those high-stress situations in practice, then the battle will be easy. So Coach Rodriguez does a great job of setting the tone, the tempo, and we play at a certain pace. And we feel confident that if we can master that and get in condition and communicating under those circumstances at practice, then we should be in better shape and condition to handle those that climate in the game.
Yeah, I guess too, you prefer it to be ugly in August as opposed to the third quarter of the first game, right? You want it to have them go through.
I prefer it to be pretty the whole time, but we know that's a part of it, though. Yes, you're right. That's a part of it. It's going to be some learning curves, and offense staff, Coach Rodriguez, Coach Trick, and all those guys, they do a great job. We have some talented guys on offense, and they put them in good places, and they create some stressful situations for our guys. So we welcome that stress. It makes us better, so it's kind of iron sharpening iron.
Tim was talking yesterday about wanting to force turnovers in practice. So from the DB's perspective, what are you preaching, I guess, to force those turnovers and punch the ball loose?
Just violence. A lot of times at the DB position, we're going to be tight in coverage, being combative through the end of the play. Just a lot of times you get deflections from what part of the receiver that we're trying to attack. So if he's extending to catch the ball, being violent through his arms, maybe that leads to a deflection, and great pursuit on the backside, getting guys to the ball. We're always preaching, if I'm the second man in, I'm trying to punch, rake the ball out. So number one, it's going to take pursuit and great effort to get to the ball. Great things happen when you run to the football. Number two, just violence at the point of contact.
Rod, are you a field boundary, a left-right, a matchup? What's your preference for corners?
I would answer that question by saying we can be multiple based on the game and the opponent we're going against. Number one thing for us is always going to be putting our guys in the best matchup. But that means there's going to be a dominant receiver to the boundary. There can be certain games we put our best guy out there. There are going to be certain matchups where we may feel pretty good about. We can play left and right, so it can be week-to-week game plan based.
Could you slide an outside corner to play inside, or they had a really good slot and he could hang there all game? Or is that a nickel's job?
Yeah, that's something we definitely can explore. And we tell our guys, too, the more position you learn, the more value you bring to the team. So We want to play as many guys as possible. We're going to play fast. So if a guy brings value playing inside and outside, it's our job to make sure he's ready to do that once game day does roll around.
Coach, what's your thought process when you see different publications, PFF or whatever, grade some of your players as the best returning to the Big 12, etc.? Do you like seeing that? Do you wish they're all underrated? Do you bring it up at all to them?
I've never brought that up. I know PFF, they have a job to do, but, we have our grading scale, and I'm sure at a certain time they may grade a certain way. They may not even know exactly what coverage we're doing. So we trust our grading process. I think it could bring value for certain people, but in terms of us inside this building, we don't refer to that. We look at what we do well. We critique our guys. We try to get better every day. So we have our own grading scale that we go by and we trust.
You trust that the players are looking at your grading scale and don't let their minds wander? Because it's only natural sometimes.
Yeah, I trust that. I think at the end of the day, they understand that I'm the guy coaching them, not some guy in some back room doing PFF. And if they come to me and say, Coach, I grade, I hire on PFF, then we'll sit down and watch film together. So I luckily I haven't ran to that yet. Hopefully I don't. But no, in all honesty, I think the guys, they're bought in. They know what we want to do. They know the expectations. And if you line all our guys up, they can tell you before we even get to the film, I probably graded out decent today. I didn't do so well. So they know the expectation and they know what it's supposed to look like.
Zach has obviously brought a lot of different looks. That's been one of the focuses on what he's doing. Has that been something you've experienced before, having all these different things and techniques that you can do and coverages? And if not, how have you kind of gotten used to it in your time here?
Yes, Coach Allen does a great job. Like I said, we have a very multiple and diverse playbook. I think the thing for us, like I was saying earlier, as coaches, we have to find a good job of making it as simple as possible for our players. So whatever that means, the best way they learn, however they can digest it. So we try our best to say, all right, once I master this concept and this technique, I can apply it to multiple calls. And the more we can do that, like I said, I think that makes the learning curve a little less steep for the guys. Especially nowadays with the portal and the transfer guys, you have to get it to them at a fast pace. So they have to be able to digest it and go out and translate from the board to the field at a faster pace than say it was 5-10 years ago in coaching. So we have adjusted and adapted with that.
I asked Zach this yesterday. I ask you, when you're putting a plan together for the defense, do you work off of what you do best or covering up the things that you don't do well? Where's your thought process there?
Great question. I think it's definitely a delicate balance. Number one, you always want to highlight what you do well. I think most good defenses, most good teams, period, you put your guys in a position to do what they do well. That's where it starts and ends with. Everyone going to have deficiencies and weaknesses. It's our job to try to limit those as much as possible. But a successful defense, successful team, you have to put your guys in position to do what they do well. So we're not going to ask them to do anything we know they can't do well.
And when this defense is performing the way it's supposed to, what does that look like?
We're going to be extremely aggressive. We're going to play fast. We're going to play physical. And every play, when people watch our film, we want to say they have 11 guys running to the football like their hair on fire. We want to play violent, and we want to be smart and optimistic at the same time.
What attributes do you find necessary to be a good corner?
Besides the physical, or are you saying?
Everything. I mean,
Well, the obvious is you're going to have the natural change of direction, skills. That's a prerequisite for the position. You're going to have to be able to run and match up with guys. Offenses nowadays do a great job of spreading you out so much that they're going to force you to cover every inch of the football field horizontally and vertically. So you got to be able to run and play some man coverage. Like you said, we do a decent amount. We want to be multiple. So we like guys who are smart enough to play some zone concepts as well. And at the end of the day, we don't have a cover corner, so you got to be physical. You got to tackle in space. You got to be able to run. You got to be able to have that change of direction and high enough football IQ that we can be multiple.
where does length come into that in your mind? I mean, longer, better, I assume, but have you found that, or is that not a big deal for corners?
I see length as a bonus. Like I said, if you can move, if you're physical, and if you're smart, and you have some length, you're going to be a special player. But I won't substitute length for movement, or I won't substitute length for physicality. I coach some guys who may be, 5'9", short limb, but twitchy, quick, and physical guys. And you can find some guys who's 6'1", 200 pounds, they don't play to that size. So I think, it's a bonus. Obviously, if you can be longer and have those same tools, then we'll take it. But it's non-negotiable. We got to be physical. We got to be able to run, and you have to be able to move and think.
For corners, much is made on a corner being a ball hawk. What does the term ball hawk mean to you, and how does a player become a ball hawk?
I just think it's aggression. And typically speaking, players play faster if they are prepared. So for my room, I think it's my job as a coach, especially once you get into the season, give them every tips, all the tools they need so they can be confident and go play faster. If they're well prepared, they typically make more plays, So by nature, defenses typically react more because, we're going backwards, offense is going forward. We want our guys to play fast, play downhill, don't play on their heels, if that makes sense. So, yes, the nature of defense is being more reactive, but we think if you're prepared properly, you can play a lot faster and kind of what's coming without guessing. Like, the tendencies, you saw the film, and then that gives your guys chances to be more opportunistic and make more plays.
So kind of perfecting the fundamentals and aggressiveness can kind of lead you to be able to be laid as a ball hawk. It's not just looking for the ball every time.
Absolutely. And then I think, once you do a deep dive into each opponent, you'll see every offense, just like every defense does. There's going to be certain tells, certain routes they like to run, certain downs and distances. At certain places on the field, they want to get the ball to certain receivers. So the more we can be in tune to that, it gives us a better chance to be more aggressive, make plays on the defense side of the ball.
Back to the attributes a little bit. Have you got to see enough of your corners yet to see if you have those attributes that you find important?
Yes, sir. I like where we are. We're nowhere near a finished product. That's the purpose of camp. I think the guys are working hard. I think we have all the necessary tools to be successful. I just have to do a good job as a coach and keep pushing them to bring everything out of them. But I think all of the physical tools are there. We just got to fine-tune some things over the next few weeks.
Versatility that you spoke about earlier, playing multiple positions. What goes into deciding a guy at one spot may be ready for an opportunity at another?
Great question. The thing I look for most is just, number one, can they make plays? It's our job. If we have 13 guys that's consistently making plays, so we'll grade every day and grade production. If you're going to be top of the board production-wise, then we have to find different ways to get you on the football field. So if you're making plays and if you can retain the knowledge at multiple spots, then we'll find a way to get you on the field.
A lot of these guys in this cornerback room are transfers, probably unfamiliar with one another. Has there been anything that you've implemented on the field or off the field to kind of strengthen the chemistry with everyone?
I think, just as much time as you can get with the guys. It's so different than it was, and I don't want to sound old. I hadn't been coaching that long, but, 15 years ago, 16 years ago when I started coaching, it was really you recruited guys, you developed them, you retained them, and you can see a kid grow from a 18-year-old freshman day one until fifth year senior. It's just everything's sped up. It's still about relationships. It's still about the guys trusting you, and it's still about you have to show the guys that you care about them as people more than you care about them as football players. And it's still the same. Great players want to be coached hard. So I think the only thing different is that gap is more accelerated now in terms of you have to get the guys to know that you care about them quicker, and they have to trust you quicker because everything is so sped up. But it's still great players want to be coached hard. Guys want to be pushed, and guys want to know that they're cared about. If you can get that done, then they still play hard for you, and they still buy in quickly.
It sounds like Zach's defense is pretty vast, right? Is it just bigger? I'd say run of the mill, but defense is defense. He just has more stuff, or is it so different that you kind of have to go to school and teach yourself to teach others?
No, I think Coach Allen does a good job of being multiple. There aren't so many coverages that you can see. There aren't so many fronts, but we try to do a good job of being as multiple as possible and trying to make it as tough as possible for our offense when they're preparing against us to know what we're going to be doing. But at the end of the day, it's still football. You only have so many ways to play cover two, so many ways to play quarter. We just try to have different guys who can do multiple things.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all.